Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing part 1 of my drugstore starter kit video, and I wanted to do this video because one of the questions I get most often asked is where to start. And I think the best place to start when you're just getting into makeup, no matter how old you are or what your budget is or whatever, is at the drugstore. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Partly because when you're just starting out, you don't really know what kind of textures, what kind of colors, what kind of finishes you like, and the easiest way to find those is at the drugstore. I think that you can, for the same amount of money, try many more products at the drugstore than you could at, say, Sephora or Ulta in the higher end section. So I always recommend going to the drugstore, buying, one or two things, trying them out, and seeing from there where to go. And the first place that I would tell someone to start out with is their base. So that's the video I'm going to do first. So today I'm going to be talking about foundations, bronzers, primers, blushes, etc. I probably should address the elephant in the room, and that's the fact that I don't have my glasses on. And that's because I have new lighting, and I've been like fighting with my lighting and rhyming for, basically the entire time I've been trying to make videos, and I finally got 2 soft boxes, and they are comically large. And because they're so large, there's really no way for them to be set up in an effective manner without being like in my face, so the glare on my glasses was really awful. So yeah, I'm kind of just blind right now, so I hope everything is in focus and everything's okay, but I think it is. So yeah, moving on from there, I'm going to get started, or else this video will be forever long. But I do want to throw in this little disclaimer that if you're just starting out, you by no means need all of these products. You by no means need every category of product I'm going to talk about on your face at the same time. And you by no means need to go out and get all of these things in order to feel like you are wearing enough makeup or whatever. By no means. I just want to touch on every category so that if you are interested, even if you start out with one thing and you decide that you want to build on that, if you are interested, you have some ideas for things that I enjoyed at the drugstore in each category. So don't feel like you need to go out and buy all these things, or that there's like all these products and you're so overwhelmed. Don't feel like that. I just want to touch on things in case you already have a small collection and you're trying to, learn how to build on that. That's all this is. So don't yell at me in the comments about having too many products, but I just wanted to give you a little, little intro into every category. And this is by no means, entirely extensively inclusive. It's just a couple things from each category. So that being said, the first thing I'm going to start with is primers. And for me, I am not really a primer person. Most primers don't really go very well with my skin. So I only have one option for you, and it's really not even a primer at all. And it is the Nivea Men Aftershave Balm. This stuff is awesome because it doesn't matter what your skin type is. It doesn't do anything to your skin other than make your makeup last longer. So the active ingredient, you could say, in this is glycerin, and that helps products stick to your face. So all you're doing, whether you're dry, oily, combo, normal, whatever, is making your foundation stick to your face with this. You're not changing the texture of your face. You're not changing whether or not you're oily or dry or whatever. All this is doing is making products stick to your face. So in that sense, it's amazing. It's amazing at what it does, and it's kind of universal. You can use other primers with it if you do have certain needs. I would use those before this one. The next category is foundation or base, whatever you want to call it. I know this is the base video, but bear with me. So if you are just getting started, I would recommend starting with a BB cream. And the one that I really like is the Maybelline Pure BB cream, the one with salicylic acid in it. I just like the way that this wears on my skin, and I find it easy to mix with foundations to give it more coverage, as it doesn't separate or anything if you mix it with something else. And this feels really light on the skin. It doesn't make you greasy, which is a concern for me. They have the regular option if you are more dry, and you can use that one. but I just find that this has actually pretty decent coverage for a BB cream, and I like its wear time, so I would recommend that one. If you are used to BB creams already but you're trying to get into foundation, I would really recommend mixing your BB cream with a heavier duty foundation. And two that I find good for that are the L'Oreal Infallible and the Rimmel Lasting Perfection. I always call it that. It's the Lasting Finish. And both of these are relatively inexpensive. This one much more so. They do approximately the same job. I like them approximately equally. I find that this one lasts a little bit longer on me, but they're both very, very good. And they're both very, very good to mix with a lighter coverage, whatever, even if it's just a tinted moisturizer or whatever, to provide you with more longevity and more coverage. So those are great. And then if you're looking for something more in the middle of those, then I would recommend one of these two, and that is the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation and the L'Oreal True Match Foundation. This one you can't get in drugstores in the US, but you can get online, and I would recommend it. It's a great foundation. I love basically everything about it, and I've had it for a long time. The True Match was my very first successful use of a foundation in the drugstore, and it's something that I can always go back to it, and I know that I will love it every single time. It's consistently just good on my face, and there's a bunch of different shade ranges, which you wouldn't find in this one as much, but I think if you were just starting out, getting one like this is a good place to start if you're looking to get into foundation without, you know, mixing or whatever. This is a good one to just wear on its own. And you know, you don't have to use the L'Oreal version, you can get the Maybelline one or whatever, but one like this, because they tend to be lighter weight, even though they're medium coverage, they don't feel super heavy on the skin, any of the versions, so I would recommend this one. And then if you are very dry and are looking for the same type of thing, I would go for the Lumi version of those, and I believe in the Maybelline, there's one that's like dewy and then one that's matte and poreless. I would go for the dewy one. And you can, again, mix this with a more matte foundation like this one if you wanted to get like a satin finish as opposed to either very matte or very dewy. It's up to you. I think that with the price point of the foundations in the drugstore, you have more leeway to mix if it's in your budget. And doing something like this to get the perfect coverage and the perfect finish for you is really the best thing you can do. I mix like foundation every day. There's rarely a time that I use a foundation on its own, and that's just because I like to customize, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't expect my foundations to do the entire job for me because I know that no matter what, I can mix. So I would recommend those for foundation. The next category is powders, and the first one I want to talk about is the Infallible by L'Oreal. It's a great powder. It has some coverage in it, so if you put on a BB cream and you want to add coverage with your powder, this is a good one for that. This runs a little bit yellow, so it's something to be aware of. However, I found that it doesn't oxidize throughout the day, which is nice, so I like to know that what I put on my face in the morning is what it's going to look like at the end of the day color-wise. So I appreciate the fact that this doesn't oxidize like some powders do. And, you know, as the name would suggest, it's really long wearing. It's great to take in your purse. As you can see, mine's pretty dirty, so that's something that I used to do. I used to keep in my purse, and it's a good standby. If you accidentally rub your face and you have rubbed off some of your foundation, this is good to go in with because it evens that out so you don't look like you have a stripe on your face where you rubbed off your makeup. So that's a good one. And the other one is the Bourjois Healthy Balance Powder. This stuff is amazing. It's not as high coverage as the L'Oreal, but it just makes my face look so nice. And I am almost out of this one. I did buy another. Again, you can't get it in the United States drugstores, but you can get it online if you are lucky enough to live in Canada or the UK or Australia or wherever. You can get that in your drugstore, and I'm very, very jealous. But it's a great brand, and everything that I've tried from it so far has been amazing, and that is no different. If you're looking for a loose powder, head over to Walmart or Walgreens and pick up the Coty Airspun. This has like the weirdest scent that I really don't like, but as a powder, it's really finely milled. It's great for setting underneath your eyes. It's great for setting your whole face. if you can get past the smell. I wish it came in an unscented version, but whatever. It is a good, you know, a good setting powder for what it is. It doesn't make me cakey. It doesn't, you know, break up my foundation or anything crazy. It's a good one. The next category would be bronzer slash contour, and for bronzer, especially a glowy bronzer, I really, really love the Milani ones. And this one's more golden than this one. I find this one more easy to use all over my face, but they're great. They're enormous. You get a ton of product in there. They are baked, so they go on very smoothly, and they last a long time on my face, which I really appreciate. And they don't look too orange, which is also something I appreciate, but they do warm up your face really nicely. For bronzer contour together, I would recommend the NYX Contour Palette. I know that right off the bat, looking at this, it's 25 bucks, and that seems really expensive when you're just starting out, just creating your own kit. But I'm gonna make my case for this, and that is that this is customizable now. NYX sells individual pans of this, and you can pop these out. So like, these two colors don't necessarily work for me. I wish they were a little bit darker. When I go through more of these colors, I can then pop these out when I'm done with them and get different ones. I could do that now, but I have other contour palettes, so I don't really feel the need to do that with this one. I really, really love the darker shades, and these are great for not only highlighting and contouring, setting underneath your eye, bronzing. You can also use this as an eyeshadow palette, which I think is really great. So if you don't want to buy, you know, a bunch of eyeshadows and a bunch of face powders, whatever, getting this can really help you get started. You can do a ton of neutral looks with this, especially if you customize it to make it fit your face better. You can get different colors for the highlights and different colors for the contours, so you have a bigger variety of looks to do. And I think that when you break it down like that with how many different ways you can use this, it really does make the price point worth it. And I think these are smooth and pigmented. They don't, you know, drag on your face. They aren't patchy. They last a long time. And the colors that they have, especially the contour colors, are cool enough that you can contour with them, and the bronzer colors are warm enough, but not so warm that you look like an Oompa Loompa. So there's that, and I really like it. The next category is highlighting, and I have a couple things for that. The first one is the Cult Classic Tiki powder by Hard Candy. This one's great. It's a great golden glow. It's finely milled. It doesn't, you know, accentuate a bunch of texture in your face, but it is very bright. If you were looking for something a little bit more low-key than that, the Wet n Wild Color Icon is a great one, because it's one that you can use without, like I said, accentuating any texture on your face. It's really great for an all-over glow. It reminds me a lot of the Hourglass ambient powders. It's not the same at all, but it reminds me of it in the way that it's a very glow from within glow, as opposed to like my highlight today, which is, you know, intense. But it's a great powder. It's something that I use if I'm gonna do like a no makeup look. This is the highlight I use because it just looks really natural on your face. The last one I want to talk about is from e.l.f. and it is the Baked Highlighter. And I've had this one, I think this is the first highlight I ever got. And it's great for the inner corner, it's great for the cheekbone. It is more intense than the other two, and you can actually use this one wet if you wanted to make a super intense highlight like that. This isn't what I'm wearing today, but I could make this look like that. So it's really great. It's $3. You know, I think that e.l.f. has really stepped up their game with their products in general, even since I bought this a couple years ago, but they still have remained so inexpensive that you could really get almost your entire line of makeup from e.l.f. and still have a great looking makeup look once you're done. I don't think you should discount e.l.f. like a lot of people do. It's a really great brand. The next category I want to talk about is blush, and I have a couple different options for you. The first one, again, is from e.l.f. and it's their Mineral Powder Blush. I have this in two colors and they're both pretty neutral, which is kind of the blush I tend to go for anyways, but they're really great. They're very pigmented but not overly pigmented. They blend really nicely. They aren't patchy, and they last a decent amount of time on my face. They're not, you know, 12-hour blushes, but they don't fade off in weird patches either. So it's a really great blush to get you through the day. And it's a good blush to start out with. Again, inexpensive, it's e.l.f. and it will really help with, you know, just learning the technique of applying blush, which takes a while when you first start your makeup. So I would definitely recommend that one. The next two I have are both from the same brand because I am semi-obsessed with Milani blushes. The first one is their Baked blush in Luminoso. Any of their baked blushes are amazing, but this one is especially beautiful. And this one can double as like a highlighting blush. If you don't want to get a separate highlighter, this blush, or a blush like this, a baked blush, is great because it adds a nice sheen to your cheekbones without you having to use a separate product. So if you don't have room in your house for a ton of makeup or room in your budget to buy a bunch of products, getting a highlighting blush like this is a great option. The other one is their Rose Powder Blush. This one's in Romantic Rose, and this one I think I wore every day straight for like 6 months. It's beautiful. I barely made a dent in it, even doing that. It's like the perfect neutral blush for my skin tone, and I love it. They last a really long time on your skin. They blend really nicely. Super pigmented, but not too pigmented. And a neutral color like this is really great because you have to really try to make yourself look like a clown in a color like this, and I think it's something great to start out with when you're just starting with your makeup. So I really do recommend these as well. The last things I'm going to talk about today are lip products, and I have 3 different categories here. The first one is lip liners, and one of my favorite lip liners from the drugstore that I use with every red lip I do is the Milani pencil lip liner, and this one is a wood pencil, so you do have to sharpen it, which isn't everybody's favorite, but I do like that you can get a precise line with this, and I find that it lasts really well. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't wear really funny. It's a really great one for under any red lip. The next liner is probably harder to find than the other products I'm going to talk about because the only place I can find this is in Walgreens, and it's the Jordana Easy Liner. It is a retractable one, but the formula is really creamy but not too creamy, so that again you can still get a crisp line, you can still get a line that isn't going to smudge everywhere, and I really like these. They're really inexpensive and they come in a lot of great colors, so I really like these. In terms of liquid lipsticks, there are 2 that I like. And the first one is from NYX, and it is their Soft Matte Lip Cream. These were the first like liquid lipsticks I ever tried, and I fell in love with them instantly. They're not my favorite formula now, you know, out of all the formulas ever, but they're still a great standby. They're great to go back to, and I know, again, this is one of those products that I know that no matter how long it is and I go back to these, I know that they're going to perform exactly the way that I remembered, and it's still good. So I have these in a bunch of colors, a bunch of dark colors, because that's who I am. But I really, really, really like these, and you know, they wear really well. I like the applicator. It's small, so you can be precise with it. You don't necessarily need a lip liner with these, but these are great. The other liquid lipstick option is the Rimmel Provocalips. These are amazing. You can like do anything with these on, and this will stay in place. I found that the dark colors are like 1,000 times better than the light colors, so don't quote me when it comes to the more nude colors because they're not very good. But these dark colors are amazing. I have eaten all kinds of food in these. I have made out with my boyfriend. I have done all kinds of things. This is what I wore on Valentine's Day last year. So, and it wasn't all over my face at the end of the night, so there's that. But I don't know, I really love these. The trick to applying these is to make sure you keep your lips taut while this is drying, because if you don't, it can settle in the lines of your lips, which I know is a lot of people's big complaint about these, but I have really, really, really enjoyed all the dark ones that I've tried. And lastly, lipsticks. My favorite lipsticks from the drugstore are from Milani, Rimmel, especially the Kate ones, and the Maybelline Creamy Mattes. These are my favorite of all time. I have a ton of colors with these, and they're beautiful, and they are matte, which I appreciate, especially in darker colors, but they don't feel drying. They don't feel gross on your lips. They almost feel like nothing, and I have loved every single one of these that I've tried. These are great, and unlike the other 2, the smell of these is not offensive in any way. As much as I love the formula of these, the smell is awful to me. I hate the gross watermelon smell of the Milani lipsticks, but I love the formula. The matte ones don't smell like weird Jolly Ranchers. They smell like vanilla or something, which I appreciate, but this just gets really overwhelming to me. But again, the formula is so great that I kind of look past it, and it doesn't linger, so I appreciate that. The Rimmel ones also smell weirdly like some kind of fruit or something. I don't really know what. Again, not a smell that lingers, but as I'm putting it on, I'm like, you know, I wish it didn't have that. But I do love these. These are matte as well, and I have these in a lot of shades as well. I just picked out a random nude one, but these are great. So that is it for part 1 of this video session. I am going to have part 2 probably tomorrow. I did have a bunch of like technical difficulties. This is like the 3rd or 4th time that I've filmed this, and I do want to touch on eye products and a couple of other things, concealers, correctors, etc. in the next video, which will hopefully come out tomorrow so that I can get 2 videos out this week. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I love drugstore shopping. And yeah, leave a comment if you'd like to see anything else, any looks or whatever. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do. If you have, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll leave all my other social media stuff in the down bar if you'd like to follow me there. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.